So you're going to feel that new load to left. Okay, let's just keep hitting.
I like that already.
The only thing we do know is that
The ball's going straight.
the geometry's changed at impact. You've done something to change the geometry.
Yeah, because it's not going.
It's not going over. It's not overhooking. It's not overhooking. Now it's not maybe drawing enough. I'm not sure where our alignment is, but we definitely have created a different geometry here. So there is a correlation between this change and ball flight. It's a good ball. Yes, I like that. Those are baby draws. Those are called draws.
I like that. That feeling.
Yeah, and that's.
I don't like to have anything where I feel restricted. That doesn't make me feel restricted. The right side thing, this thing makes me feel restricted.
Mm-hmm. I'm first going to look at you in the impact position because it's the most important. Everything the ball does, how far it goes, how high it goes, how much it spins and curves, is a direct response to the laws of physics in motion at the brief moment of impact. On the left is Tiger hitting an iron. This is video I took at last year's US Open. On the right is Grant Wade hitting a driver. Grant was a PGA Tour player during the 90s and now is one of the top instructors of tour players. Grant's teaching partner is a good friend of mine, Joe Mayo, who lives in Las Vegas. Grant was considered by many as having one of the best and most fundamentally sound golf swings. At impact, they both have the majority of their weight on the left side. In fact, the average pro will have 85 to 90% of their weight on the left side at impact. I've drawn a red box from the center of their ankles to the top of their head, and you can see that the red line off their left foot is passing right through their belt buckle, showing how the center of their mass is right on top of their left foot. They both have extended arms through impact. Their elbows are close together and not separating. Having extended arms and weight forward allows them to control the low point of their arc of their swing. When hitting the iron, this fundamental allows the placement of the low point to be in front of the ball, so that they hit the ball first and then the ground, producing the maximum compression of the golf ball. These fundamentals also allows for the highest level of consistency in controlling the face angle and club path during impact, so that you in turn have the highest level of consistency in hitting whatever optimal ball flight you want. First, we're going to look at the weight distribution between your feet at the moment of impact, and I'm going to compare it to Grant Wade. And you can see that Grant has the center of his hips right on top of his left foot. Now you have more weight on your left foot than you do your right foot, but not quite as much as Grant, and that can cause some problems in hitting the ball first. You want to hit the ball and then the ground and have your divot follow that. So controlling the low point of your arc and consistently positioning the low point of your arc is one of the things that elite players do well. And one of the things that allows them to do it is having more weight on their left side and having your hands in front of the ball at impact. And you do have more weight on your left side. I would like over time for that to slowly get further to the left than it is right now. Now the swing on the left was at the beginning of our work session. It was before I directed your attention to keeping more weight on your left side in your backswing. Now the other difference is Grant does have his hands more in front of the ball at impact than you do. He has that what we call a shaft lean, and you come in a little bit vertical. But when you come in vertical, basically you're coming in too flat here. And Grant's coming in slightly steeper. Grant's going to have 3 or 4 degrees of negative attack angle, and you're less than 1 or 0. If you are a fraction behind that, you might be 2 inches behind the golf ball. If Grant was a fraction behind, he may be 1/4 of an inch behind the ball. So when you have a little bit more shaft lean, it gives you a little bit more forgiveness. Now here you are in the 9th position. This is when the right arm is parallel to the ground on the post-impact side. And you and Grant look very similar. You've got a nice extension in this arm right here. Both arms are extended. The elbows are close to each other. I can see the left hand underneath the right hand, just like I can on Grant. And then as Grant takes it up to the finish, he's definitely right on top of his left foot. Let's take you up to your finish. That red line's going right through the center of your hip, right through the center of your head. You're right on top, posting up. Beautiful back foot position. So your post impact is very good. So let's look at some of the things you do prior to impact that maybe inhibits you from arriving at a fundamentally sound impact. This is the setup, and one of the things that Grant does a little differently than you, he starts out with about 55% of his weight on his left foot. So he's already in a little bit of a mini impact position. And you are a little more 50-50. Now what you're going to see when I show you the swing that you worked on at the end of the session, where you concentrated on having a little bit more weight on your left side in your backswing, you will look and you will see that your other swing, your new swing, already presets itself a little bit more on the left, even though we didn't specifically talk about that. Okay, we're going to take Grant back to the 3 position. This is when the left arm is parallel to the ground. Take you to that same position. Grant is basically rotating around his left side. So Grant has rotated back just like you have, but you've actually swayed to the right, away from the left wall into the right wall. So you actually have more weight on your back foot now. Then you're no longer 50-50. You've increased the weight in your back leg. In order for you to arrive with the majority of your weight on your left foot at impact, you're going to have to move a lot faster because you're having to travel so much further. You've shifted to the right, and therefore you have to shift even more back to the left in your downswing. Grant doesn't have to shift so much to the left because he's not going to the right to begin with. And that makes him have a little bit better control of the low point of his swing. His low point is still in front of the golf ball, and yours now has drifted behind the golf ball. So you've added a problem you've got to solve in the rest of your swing that Grant doesn't have to solve. He doesn't have to figure out how to get his low point in front of the ball. It's there, and he just keeps it there. And so you have to not only have a good swing around your circle, you're going to have to move your golf circle back up again. Here we are at the top of the backswing. The most obvious visual difference between you and Grant is you have more weight on your right leg than you do your left leg. Grant has his left hip on top of his left foot at the top of his backswing. So he's loading up that left leg. I'm going to take Grant out of the top of the backswing and start his downswing. I'm going to stop it at the 5 position when the left arm returns to a parallel position in the downswing. I'm going to do you as well. Now you have moved more to the left now, but Grant is certainly further left than you are. You can see how his right hip is much further away from the red line than yours is. Now let's compare your swing on the left, which was before we started adjusting your swing a little bit with the focus on staying on your left side in your backswing. Let's compare that to what that swing looked like after you started making that adjustment. Now the swing on the left was at the beginning of the session before any adjustments, and the swing on the right was later in the session after we did some adjustments. We're going to see in each of these positions very small, subtle differences, but these differences are very important. You can tell by looking at the angle of the head that you have positioned yourself a little bit more on your left side. That looks good. Let's take it back to the 3 position now. Again, just by looking at the head position is an indication that you do have more weight on your left side than your right side with your adjusted swing. So that looks good. Even a little daylight between your chest and the red line off your right foot on the right hand swing. So there's a couple of indicators that you have made some small improvements in keeping more weight on your left side in your backswing. Let's take it to the top of the swing. Okay, that looks good and very similar. But I am seeing just a fraction more shoulder turn on the right. I'm seeing that chest, the center of your chest. It's almost as if your spine angle is almost like this, and here you've kept your sternum stable and let the bottom of your spine swing like a pendulum to the right, which is correct. That looks very good on the right. Very good on the right. Okay, we're going to take it down to the 5 position. Again, I'm seeing a lot more movement to the left leg now. I'm seeing more daylight right in here. So you're shifting to more to the left than you are on the other swing. Now here we are at impact, and again, I am seeing a small but an important improvement with the swing on the right, and that'll continue to improve as we continue to work on these adjustments to get more on the left-hand side at impact. Bill, you have a super solid foundation of fundamentals, and we don't need to be adding a whole bunch to it to make it even just a little bit better. We're just going to work on a few things, not a bunch of things. We're just going to continue to reinforce those few things that will help you become a better ball striker.
I want you to be aggressive for 3 or 4 balls. Just kind of have some fun with it. Not a lot of swing thoughts when that's your only thought.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes it almost looks like you're trying to over-control every piece of the swing with your other one.
Yeah,
It's scary to just let go of all that trust. You know?
It's out of my comfort zone. Because I've been trying to slow it down so much, you know.
And I think that it's hard to get all the pieces in sync when you get that slow. But I've seen the last 3 are just on top of each other.
Yeah, they are. So just,
Now, unfortunately, you can't take credit for it. It's your partner.
subconscious minds do it.
You trained him to
Yeah.
do a great job, so let him do it. Get out of their way. Yeah, you're swinging aggressive, and you're not swinging so aggressive that you're losing your balance or your form. It's all still that, and that's a sign of too hard. But you've got good balance and good form. And then that a little more fun. A little skinny, but it'll play.
So
Well,
we're working on it.
and I'm not saying we're not going to adjust your swing, but we're
Yeah.
going to adjust it in this tempo.
Okay.
We're not going to try to fix it with a wrong tempo.
For this or all clubs?
Well, for the driver. Driver's a different club.
Okay.
Driver's a different club.
Okay.
Well, your partner hasn't had a chance to really get a lot of practice in on this. So give it some more. It's actually behind the curtain doing some adjusting.
Okay.
It doesn't like that shot either. Let's see what it does and comes up with. You didn't tell what the partner to do on this last one. And that's what your swing thought may bounce around a little bit, but it's only one thought. Maybe it's one backswing thought and one downswing thought, but it's not a lot of thoughts. That's cute.
It's pretty much dead straight.
Okay, good, yeah. See, that's the one that we might need to fix.
That's the one that I'm afraid of.
Okay.
When I swing this.
Well, that's 1 out of what, 12?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not afraid of 1 out of 12.
That's the only one in my past.
On this swing, I want you to make sure that you don't start your backswing too soon. Make sure kind of a wave of calm washes over you.
I got you.
But you have a nice. I like a smooth backswing, but I want you to be aggressive on the hit. The 15 I've seen since I've speeded you up have been.
They're a little left.
So we're just going to try to see what kind of comes out. Don't worry about your fairway out there. You're just trying to do some swings with a little bit more solid left side.
I like that flight.
Yeah, penetrating.
I like that flight. That ball will run a little bit.
I like that ball.
I can feel the difference when I'm not wobbling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's more stable. It's just tight. It's much tighter.
It's actually a little, well, a couple times here, it feels like a little easier to maintain my balance when I'm
You're not having to move to the left. You're already there. I really like those.
really good feeling.
I think the dispersion is going to be much tighter now.
Exactly, and the trajectory.
Oh, I love that trajectory. Just penetrate.
You know what the best best part about it is I'm not even thinking